a big punch.
Meanwhile, in Klitschko's corner, German trainer Fritz Spooner asked him to use more combinations and just to try to land punches, not to try to land with such overwhelming force. Spooner apparently believing that Klitschko is trying to hit the home run when maybe a single or a double will do.
Well, Jim, it's like going up against a knuckleball pitcher. You want to hit the ball into the bleachers every time, and that's why big sluggers strike out on those kinds of pitches.
And almost here, George Foreman saying, just land the punch. Just make contact. Don't put everything you have into it. That's what Klitschko's trainer was asking him to do. It's a good thing for Vitali that he's as fluent in languages as he is, because while Spooner, his trainer, speaks to him in German, his brother Vladimir simultaneously speaks to him in Russian. Round 6 of what is becoming an interesting heavyweight fight in Berlin, Germany, between the towering Vitali Klitschko and the bouncy, elusive, obstreperous Chris Byrd. Here's an example of what Spooner asked for. Just land the punch. Klitschko
He's made
off the right hand.
He's made a good adjustment to what happened to him in the last round.
Chris Byrd's protective cup is loosening in the back. May or may not become a distraction for him, but it could cause a delay at some point.
Look it up. Let's go. Get back, get back, get back, get back, get back.
Chris Byrd landed half his punches in the 5th round. In the 6th round, as Larry pointed out, Klitschko making a good adjustment and regaining his momentum in the fight. But it looks like this one just might go the distance. And that would change Klitschko's bargaining power and his market position in the heavyweight division. We are in Berlin tonight with a look at Potsdamer Platz. During the 20s, the busiest crossroads in all of Europe. Today, one of the most active building areas in the world in this city, festooned with cranes and huge construction machinery. There's as much new building going on here as probably anywhere else in the world, as Berlin becomes an entirely different place than has been the case before in the 20th century.
Okay?
Your punches are too low. Be careful. Look what Byrd is doing. Okay, good punches. Keep it calm. Keep it easy. Is that hurting? Okay. Keep a distance. Provoke him. Let him come.
Okay?
And then answer with a good combination.
Yep, right. Okay. Let's go. Second round. Let's go now. Yep.
Fellas, we've told you at the beginning of the evening.
Box.
Last year, Ross Purity, an American veteran, took on Klitschko's little brother, Vladimir, a heavyweight with a record of 32-1. He exhausted Vladimir and rocked him in a late round, and Vladimir's trainer jumped into the ring and grabbed his fighter, stopping the fight. So that's the only professional loss for either Klitschko. Byrd trying to repeat that same pattern here. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. 59-55, 5 rounds to 1. Vitali Klitschko. In round 6, he definitely won the round. He kept catching Chris Byrd as Chris moved in. Round 5 was a good Chris Byrd round. But Jim, I got to tell you something. The judges. They're calling time for the tape. Gino Rodriguez is going to make him tighten up that tape.
I told you this. I told you this
is
going to happen.
But Jim, the judges definitely see Vitali Klitschko sucking air. His mouth is wide open. He's definitely starting to tire. He tired in round 6, so this fight could turn.
And this is not incidentally for the protective cup, as I had suggested, but rather for the tape around the glove. A delay at this point, probably good for Klitschko for the reason that Harold just described.
You know, when we spoke to Klitschko about his PhD in sports science, we asked him about this notion that a big man has problem with stamina. And he refused to go for it, said it depends on how you train, whether you pace yourself in the fight, and so on. Well, he's in the laboratory right now to prove it one way or the other.
27 previous fights. Vitali Klitschko has been to the 6th round once and went to the 9th round against Obed Sullivan. Chris Byrd has had 14 fights in his career of greater than 6 rounds. So we're moving into an area of the fight with which Byrd is considerably more familiar. And now Klitschko makes Byrd miss with the left hand. Klitschko connecting to this point in the fight at a rate of about 25%. Against all previous opponents, he connected at around a 47% rate. So Byrd's elusiveness, a big factor in the fight so far. And if you're wondering about the difference between Byrd against the big puncher last year, Ike Ibeabuchi, and against Klitschko this year, one obvious change. Ibeabuchi's just quicker than Klitschko has been able to be here.
You have the strange sight of David coming forward and Goliath going backward.
You also have to wonder at what point does Klitschko perhaps become frustrated.
Pick up his truncheon, pick up his truncheon, right?
Not too high, not too high.
Open my cup a little bit.
Take a deep breath, let out slow. You still letting him catch you with 2 minutes.
One more drink.
2 minutes.
Quick.
Necessary punches.
Okay, move Vitali and slip his punches. That was quite a good round. Take a breathe. Drink a bit. Open your mouth. What's that? Okay. You're controlling. Keep a distance with your left.
Okay?
Seconds out, let's go.
Everything okay? Okay. Go for it.
Dr. Vitali Klitschko, PhD in sports sciences from Kiev University. First lieutenant in the Ukrainian Air Force, 4th generation military man. Taking on Chris Byrd, who was raised to fight by his father, Joe Byrd, who used to set his sons up in an 8-foot square indoor gym in their home in Flint, Michigan. One of Byrd's advisors, John Hornauer, came in here tonight, took a look at the small ring and said, well, I guess they didn't know that Chris grew up in an 8-foot ring. And it was there in the 8-foot ring in his house that Byrd learned to be invisible while standing still. The Pernell Whitaker of heavyweights, in effect, a man who can stand right in front of you and never be found by a significant punch. That's what he's trying to be against one of the biggest punchers in the sport here tonight.
But he's throwing his punches tentatively. He's not trying to put any serious hurt on Klitschko. He's just hoping, as we said earlier, Jim, that Klitschko will knock himself out.
Klitschko lands with a left hook. Byrd comes back with 2 lefts of his own. Klitschko, you can almost see him trying to aim his punches now. Rare body shot from Klitschko. More of those, I think, would help him a lot. Manages to find Byrd's head with a sort of half-speed right hand. Now a harder right hand. Byrd comes back with the left. Again, Klitschko to the body, and this time a big right hand, and Byrd comes back with a double left of his own. just a little bit more often now.
But you know, he's doing something pretty smart, Klitschko. He's not trying to punch through the target because it's too hard to do that with Byrd. He's punching at the target and carving up points. If the knockout comes, it comes.
Do you think there are some sophisticates in the sport, Larry, who would give him just as much credit for an intelligent, well thought out decision victory over Byrd as for another big knockout?
I doubt it.
I do too. Let's join us April 10 for the premiere of Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. One of the stories featured female high school wrestler Carissa